It all starts in front of a television screen in America. A high school girl named Jae-hee is watching the Olympics when a Korean high jumper named Tae-jun clears the bar, takes first place, and walks away with the gold medal. Something about him sticks with her long after the broadcast ends. That same night, she picks up a pair of scissors and cuts her hair short until she looks like a boy. Then she packs her things, flies to Korea, and goes straight to the school where Tae-jun studies. And here is the part that makes everything complicated. It is an all-boys school, and she is walking into it on purpose. She arrives to find a crowd of fans camped at the gate hoping for a glimpse of him, and they shove her aside without a second thought. Then the school guard stops her. Jae-hee does not flinch. She tells him she is a boy and has already enrolled and hands over a set of completely forged documents. He does not believe a word of it, but he lets her through anyway. She has just stepped into the biggest secret of her life. This is To the Beautiful You. On her way to the principal's office, Jae-hee's bag slips and her clothes spill across the floor. A young man crouches down to help her gather them, and when she looks up, she is staring at Tae-jun himself.
강태준!
독특하다.
선수가 아니야!
She gets so flustered she loses her footing, and he barely registers her and walks off. She is thrilled anyway. The principal welcomes her warmly and hands her a uniform, and she studies her reflection and decides she looks exactly like a boy. The classroom is a much colder welcome. Nobody greets her, and one of the boys throws a banana peel at her.
Strike!
Another boy decides to test her, telling her that if she wants to belong in their group, she has to fetch a tennis ball from the doghouse. The dog guarding it is genuinely frightening, but it senses something gentle in her and lets her take the ball. On her way out, she runs into Tae-jun, who has come to greet the dog and jumps when she suddenly appears, and she teases him for being braver around the dog than he is around her. She walks back into the classroom with the ball and tells the room flat out that she is strong and ready for whatever they throw at her. A little later, Tae-jun walks in and sits down directly behind her. He does not say a word, but she is quietly delighted anyway. Around this time, we meet Ha-na, a beautiful student and gymnast who also works as a model alongside Tae-jun's manager. When she asks about him, the manager lets slip that he has come back to Korea. Tae-jun, meanwhile, is in the school clinic, where the doctor tells him his injury is not serious at all, and Tae-jun insists that stay between the two of them. And then there is Hyun-jae, another jumper, and Tae-jun's classmate, a boy whose entire goal in life is to beat Tae-jun and who has never once managed it. Life as a boy turns out to be a series of small disasters. She eats lunch alone, waits forever for a free restroom, and when she finally gets inside, more boys walk in and she bolts. In her rush, she slams into a large boy and accidentally pulls his pants down. He comes at her furious, and she defends herself so quickly that the entire hallway ends up admiring her for standing up to someone twice her size. One of them is Yoon-gyeol, who introduces himself, tells her she is hopelessly weak, and walks her to the dormitory. Jae-hee steps into the bathroom and makes very sure to lock the door behind her, not knowing the lock has been broken for a long time. She is in the middle of a long shower when her roommate comes home, and that roommate is Tae-jun. He hears noises from the bathroom and walks in, and Jae-hee barely has time to wrap a towel around herself. She screams at him to get out, and it never once crosses his mind that she might be a girl. He tells her flatly to leave, since he never agreed to share his room, and throws her out. She ends up sitting by the doghouse until the captain of the sports team finds her and marches her back, forcing Tae-jun to accept the arrangement. He has the bottom bunk, so Jae-hee takes the top one even though she is afraid of heights, and lies awake a long time admiring the boy sleeping below her. Tae-jun wakes the next morning to little notes scattered around the room, all from Jae-hee, promising she will not disturb a single thing and begging him not to kick her out. He also finds she has made him breakfast. Yoon-gyeol, meanwhile, is a talented soccer player the coach will never put forward for the national team because his game is uneven. He invites Jae-hee to a match where she ends up on the opposing side and cheers for Tae-jun anyway. When he asks whose team she is on, she says she respects skill wherever she finds it, so he sets her a challenge. If she can score a goal against him, he will let her stay. She tries again and again and ends up flat on the ground every time until Eun-gil feeds her the ball. She breaks toward the goal and another player trips her and puts her down hard. Tae-jun feels so guilty that he carries her to the clinic himself, and the doctor tells him she is simply exhausted. That same day, Tae-jun gets a call from his father, who wants him to film a commercial that requires a jump. Tae-jun refuses since he is supposedly injured, but his father accuses him of dodging his responsibilities and pushes him into it. When the moment comes, Tae-jun stands there and finds he cannot jump at all. His father slaps him and calls it disobedience. Jae-hee wakes in the clinic with the doctor beside her, and he drops a hint that he already knows she is a girl. She dodges the subject completely and hurries back to her room, where Tae-jun tells her that her stubbornness impressed him, and she can stay as long as she causes no trouble. That night, he dreams about his late mother. Jae-hee pulls a blanket over him and comforts him, and half asleep, he mistakes her for his mother. In the morning, he wakes to find her still sitting beside him and thanks her for looking after him. In class, the representative announces a school sports competition, and training turns serious overnight. Jae-hee signs up for the running event because speed is the one thing she has, and during practice a competitor trips her and puts her on the ground again. She goes to the clinic for painkillers, and while she is there, Tae-jun walks in and starts talking to the doctor. Jae-hee hears everything. His injury healed completely a long time ago. The reason he cannot jump anymore is entirely in his head. After he leaves, the doctor calls her out of hiding and repeats what he hinted at before, that he knows she is a girl, and tells her she should confess to the principal. So Jae-hee tells him the truth instead. All she wants is to be near Tae-jun and help him get past whatever is blocking him, so he can go back to the sport he loves. The doctor is moved enough to let her stay, on one condition. The day Tae-jun jumps again, she leaves. Back in the room, Tae-jun is miserable. She tries to comfort him, and he tells her to stay out of his personal business and throws her out. Eun-gil finds her wandering the field and pulls her into a game of soccer. The next day, a journalist stops Jae-hee in the street and presses a business card into her hand, asking for anything she knows about Tae-jun's condition, since she is his roommate. A day later, the story of his injury is in every newspaper. Tae-jun finds the journalist's card in the trash and draws the obvious conclusion. He confronts Jae-hee, accusing her of getting close to him only to sell his secrets, and tells her he did not realize she was that low. She has no way to defend herself, so she says nothing. What nobody knows is that the leak came from Hyun-jae, his own rival. The day of the sports competition arrives, and every class ends up tied, with only the running and jumping events left to decide it. Hyun-jae announces that his injury will keep him out of the jumping event, so Jae-hee steps forward for the running instead. Her classmates have no faith in her at all, and then watch in astonishment as she holds her own round after round. Then it comes out that one class has been cheating the entire time, hiding the water so the other runners cannot drink and swapping players in and out unfairly, and one of them trips her. She is lying there, close to giving up, when she remembers the words Tae-jun spoke the first time she ever saw him. She gets up, pushes through everything in her way, and wins the race. Tae-jun watches her do it and is genuinely shaken, especially knowing she only entered because neither he nor Hyun-jae could. Afterward, she goes to him and tells him she never leaked anything. The journalist approached her, yes, but she threw the card away. He decides to believe her. That evening, the students celebrate their win, and for the first time, they accept her as one of their own. Tae-jun, though, sits alone watching the news, sinking lower and lower, and he starts drinking until he is completely drunk. Jae-hee goes looking for him, and when she finds him, he stares at her a little too long, wondering to himself why his classmate looks like a beautiful girl. Then, without thinking about it at all, he kisses her. She freezes.
야,
and neither of them notices that someone is quietly taking pictures. She hauls him back to the room, gets him into bed, and then sits on her bunk trying to work out what to do with the fact that he kissed her while believing she was a boy. He wakes the next morning remembering nothing, and once she realizes the memory is gone, she decides to keep it to herself. But the photo surfaces, and within hours it has gone around the entire school. Hyun-jae mocks Tae-jun without mercy, and Tae-jun nearly goes for him before Jae-hee gets between them. She announces that the picture was taken from far away and that he kissed her cheek, not her lips, which is perfectly normal between friends. To prove it, she turns to Yoon-gyeol and kisses him on the cheek. The tension breaks instantly. Yoon-gyeol's heart, on the other hand, is hammering because he just felt how unexpectedly soft her lips were. Yoon-gyeol, determined to prove Jae-hee is a completely ordinary guy, sets her up on a group date and feels strangely nervous when he touches her. Then he comes back to find her gone because Tae-jun's dog has slipped its leash nearby and she has taken off after it. She catches it and realizes she is lost with no phone, but the dog leads her straight back to Tae-jun. His phone is dead, so they wait, and when a bus tears past and throws up a wall of water, Tae-jun puts himself between her and it. That small gesture pushes her admiration into something much deeper. Eun-gyeol, meanwhile, is still sitting in the rain waiting for her, and when she calls to say she was with Tae-jun, he lies and says he went home ages ago. Not long after, the school clears everyone out of the dormitories for a few days of work. With no home in Korea, Jae-hee has nowhere to go, so when a friend suggests they all stay at his mother's hotel by the sea, she agrees, and Yoon-gyeol and Hyun-jae come too. Tae-jun says he is going home, but when his father's assistant tells him his father is back, he runs instead and hitches a ride with the school doctor, who happens to be heading to the exact same hotel. Once they arrive, the group discovers the stay is not free. While they are working, Jae-hee slips and nearly falls, and Eun-gyeol catches her just in time. In that half-second, he feels something he cannot explain, and the suspicion takes root that she might actually be a girl. After the work is done, they spend the afternoon on the beach. Tae-jun turns up later, finds Jae-hee soaking wet, looks distinctly irritated, and throws his sweater at her and tells her to cover up. She goes to change in the bathroom, and one of the hotel workers walks in on her by accident and realizes she is a girl. Meanwhile, Hanna's manager once again lets slip exactly where Tae-jun is, and she turns up at the hotel that evening because she is in love with him. She tries everything to get close, and he ignores her completely. Later, Jae-hee is in the bathroom when the worker who saw her earlier tries to force his way in to attack her. Hanna arrives at exactly the right moment and confronts him, and Jae-hee stays hidden until she can slip out unseen. A little later, Hyun-jae tricks Eun-gyeol into believing Jae-hee is in there, so Eun-gyeol walks in and finds Hanna instead, and she screams and hits him until he loses consciousness. That night, Jae-hee falls asleep away from the others, and Tae-jun gives her a long, thoughtful look. The next morning, he finds a very girlish bracelet on her bed. At breakfast, the same hotel worker comes to her again, this time asking her to come along to the market. She agrees without a second thought, and he drives her out to an isolated place and tells her he knows her secret. Then he comes at her, and she runs, and he chases her. Back at the hotel, Tae-jun asks the owner where Jae-hee is, and hears the two of them went out for groceries. He remembers how that man had been hovering around her, and he runs. The man has already caught her when Tae-jun arrives on his bike. He puts him on the ground with one punch and pulls Jae-hee away, holding her until she stops shaking.
이제 그만해.
With the truck wrecked and the bike broken, he carries her the whole way back on his back, and she feels safer beside him than she has felt in a very long time. The doctor treats her injuries, and Tae-jun refuses to tell the others what really happened and just says she took a fall. Jae-hee will not even eat, so he brings her food and finds Eun-gyeol already sitting beside her, the two of them laughing. He feels a stab of jealousy and walks away. The next day, the group packs up to head back. Jae-hee borrows Taejun's tablet to contact her brother, who tells her he is coming to Korea for a conference and will visit her. She has no idea what to do because her brother is expecting a sister and the school is expecting a boy. So she makes a bold decision. She steals Hanna's clothes, puts on a wig, and goes to wait for her half-brother in front of a girls' school. He greets her warmly and takes her shopping. At the mall, she excuses herself to the restroom, walks into the men's room out of pure habit, catches herself, and hurries into the ladies' room, where she runs straight into Hanna. She gets out fast, but Hanna feels she has seen that face somewhere before and notices the girl is wearing her own school's uniform. Her brother then mentions that Taejun is at the mall signing autographs and insists on taking her, assuming she is just shy about meeting her favorite athlete. She tries to keep her face hidden, but Taejun spots her anyway and feels an odd pull he cannot explain. At the same time, Hanna comes over and asks if they have met before, and Jae-hee stammers that they are only classmates and probably crossed paths somewhere. Her brother drops her at school, and she rushes back to the dorm and changes into her boy's clothes. Then the school doctor calls her in to translate for a specialist who has arrived from the United States to consult on Taejun's condition. She walks in and finds herself face to face with her own brother. He tears into her for what she has done, and she begs him to understand, telling him she is here because she wants Taejun to recover. He gives in enough to say he will collect her after his conference. What neither of them knows is that Taejun is listening to the entire conversation. And here is the twist. He has known she was a girl from the very beginning. What floors him is the reason. She did all of it for him. Moved by that, he decides the kindest thing he can do is let her go. She comes back to find her backpack already packed and Taejun telling her to leave, since he knows her brother came for her. He says nothing about knowing her secret. She protests that she wants to stay until she sees him compete at the Olympics again, and he stuns her by saying he plans to retire. She walks out crying and runs into Eun-gyeol, who tries to comfort her, and she falls asleep on his shoulder while his heart goes wild. Before she leaves, she writes Taejun a letter, wishing him well and thanking him for everything. When he reads it, it breaks something open in him. She tells him that being near him made her happy, because back in America she was always lonely and bullied for not fitting in, and that being with him gave her the courage to prove herself, which is why she ran that race and won it, something she had never managed before. He feels the weight of that and decides he is going to win her back. She is on her way to say goodbye to the dog when he catches her and stops her. He tells her to wait, because there is still something she needs to see, and when she asks what he means, he says he means the day he wins the Olympics. Then he takes her hand and leads her back to the dorms. Back in the room, he is nervous around her in a way he has not been before, and he fixes the broken bathroom door for her. He also decides to return to training, and Hyunjae is furious when he hears, because he was counting on Taejun retiring and leaving the field wide open. He starts bullying Taejun, and the coach breaks it up and then turns on Taejun for missing so many sessions and sends him out of the gym. Around the same time, Hanna sneaks into Taejun's room and finds the girlish bracelet that belongs to Jae-hee. Convinced some other girl left it for him, she is reeling until Jae-hee walks in, recognizes it, and says it belongs to a friend of hers. Hanna leaves very pleased. Then Jae-hee's brother turns up at the school and insists on taking her home. He meets the principal and carefully explains in English that Jae-hee is not a boy but his sister. And the principal does not understand a single word of it. Jae-hee hustles her brother out of there and takes him to see the doctor, who tells him that if he trusts his sister, he should let her chase what she wants. That convinces him, and he agrees she can stay as long as she takes care of herself. Around the same time, Eun-gyeol runs into his childhood friend Dahae, a musician at the park. When Jae-hee hears that Taejun is back in training, she bakes him a cake, carries it over, trips, and lands face first in it.
맛이라도 좀 봐봐. 진짜 맛있다.
괜찮아?
어떡해.
He laughs and tells her not to be discouraged, and then they are both laughing. The following day, she notices he is dressed up and about to go out, and he tells her to eat alone because he has somewhere important to be. Eun-gyeol explains it later. That day is the anniversary of Taejun's mother's death. Then a message comes in from an unknown number claiming to be Taejun, telling her to meet him at the swimming pool. She goes, and it turns out to be a trap set by the boy she fought on her very first day. Taejun comes back and asks Yoon-gyul where she is, and the two of them run. By then, she has already been thrown into the pool. They get there just in time to find her drowning, and Taejun performs CPR and carries her back to their room. It is there that he realizes the necklace his mother left him is gone, and the loss visibly shakes him. Jae-hee feels responsible, and the next day she goes back to the pool to search for it. He spots her, panics, pulls her out of the water, and tells her there is no need for any of this. Taejun goes to the coach after that and apologizes for his absence, admitting he had planned to retire and changed his mind. The coach lets him back on the team. He throws himself into training and fails every single attempt. Watching him, Jae-hee starts to believe she is the pressure holding him back and decides the kindest thing she can do is disappear. She calls her brother and tells him she is coming back to America for Taejun's sake and that she has left a message behind for him. Taejun is at a competition waiting for her to come and cheer, and when she never appears, he fails his first jump. Then Yoon-gyul tells her the competition is happening and she changes her mind and goes. She screams his name from the stands, and when he hears her voice, he jumps and clears it for the first time in a long while, and the whole place erupts. In that same moment, her brother messages to say he has been forced to leave without her, and that staying at the school is fine as long as she looks after herself. She is so happy that she runs straight to Taejun and throws her arms around him, and for the first time ever, he tenses up and pushes her away. The next day, Yoon-gyul tells her about the annual school festival, where students are chosen to dress up as girls and compete for the title of the most beautiful one. The class representative asks her to enter because she is pretty and looks the part, and she refuses flat out, only to find Taejun standing alone looking devastated. The coach has refused to keep him on the team because he still cannot perform the jump on command. So Jae-hee goes back to the representative and says she will enter on one condition. She wants the coach convinced to give Taejun another chance, and the representative goes and asks for exactly that. The festival comes around and the whole school throws itself into it. Taejun learns that Jae-hee only agreed to take part for his sake, so he enters too, to keep an eye on her. She makes it to the final round, and just as she is about to put on the girl's outfit, the boy she fought on her first day appears and takes it, looking for revenge. Taejun gets there in time, beats him, warns him to stay away from his roommate, and brings the clothes back to her. She steps out in front of everyone, and the room falls apart, because she does not just look like a girl, she moves like one, right down to the way she walks. She sings, and Taejun watches her with something close to awe. Afterward, she goes to thank him. He is flustered by how beautiful she is, and he still refuses to let on that he knows the truth. Then she trips and lands right on top of him, and at that exact moment, Yoon-gyul and Han-na walk in. Han-na is horrified for a second, before reassuring herself that Jae-hee is just a boy in a dress, and she goes back to hovering around Taejun as usual. The next day, the principal announces renovations in the dorm and suggests placing 3 students to a room. Yoon-gyul seizes the chance and moves himself and their close friends into Taejun and Jae-hee's room. Taejun, worried about her safety, refuses, until Yoon-gyul points out that if he leaves, some other student will take his place. So Yoon-gyul stays, even asking to sleep next to Jae-hee, and Taejun sets up a separate bed for him well out of the way. From then on, Taejun is permanently on edge, tracking exactly where Yoon-gyul is at all times and bursting into the room to check on her. And when he hears they are going out with the rest of the group, he comes along, which he has never once done before. They go bowling, and Taejun is terrible at it while Yoon-gyul is excellent, so he starts trying to impress her too, and eventually puts some points on the board. Jae-hee is thrilled because she can see him getting stronger in his head as well as his body. Yoon-gyul, meanwhile, feels a strange jealousy he cannot explain. When Yoon-gyul finds out that Jae-hee has been searching for Taejun's necklace every single day, he decides to help her and eventually finds it. But when he goes to tell her, she explains she is upset because Taejun is grieving over that necklace, so Eun-gyeol quietly keeps the news to himself. He tries to distract himself by going out with Da-hae, and she takes one look at him and tells him he is clearly thinking about another girl. Around this time, the bully's friend hatches a plan for revenge, telling Jae-hee the necklace has turned up in the old storage room. She goes, and the boys lock her in a room she cannot get out of. They are then caught by a teacher and punished, and nobody remembers she is still in there. Taejun starts to feel something is wrong when she stops answering his calls. He goes looking, spots her through a window, breaks the door down, and holds her while she cries from fear. She apologizes and tells him all she wanted was to find his necklace, and he tells her to forget the necklace entirely because she matters more. Then he finally tells her why he has been carrying so much. His mother was ill, and her wish was to see him win at the Olympics. On the day he won, he was on his way to the hospital to see her when his father told him she was already gone. He has never been able to compete the same way since. He cries, and she promises she will never put herself in danger again, and they walk back to the dorm closer than they have ever been. The next day, Eun-gyeol finds out it is Jae-hee's birthday and hands her a box, and inside is Taejun's necklace. She takes it straight to Taejun, who thanks her with real warmth, and then reveals he has a gift for her, too. He gives her a taser so she can protect herself, and she promptly shocks herself with it. Soon after, Han-na asks Taejun to buy her a birthday gift and drags him to the exact same shop, where the assistant mistakes her for the girl he bought the earlier gift for and asks whether she liked it. Han-na goes cold and starts digging to find out which girl he is involved with. Meanwhile, Jae-hee waits for Taejun to blow out her candles, and it is Eun-gyeol who shows up with a cake instead, ignoring a call from Da-hae to stay with her. When he finally tells Da-hae he has no feelings for her, she slaps him and says she knew all along that he loved someone else. The day after that, Han-na works out that Taejun bought that gift for Jae-hee. She goes to Jae-hee, breaks it, and tells her that Taejun is straight and has no interest in men, so she needs to stop affecting him. When Taejun comes home, Jae-hee decides to say nothing about any of it. Then comes the school camp. Taejun watches Jae-hee struggling to cut potatoes, moves her aside, cooks the whole thing himself, and then insists in front of everyone that she made it. The coach announces a paintball game, with the losing team forced to make their lowest scorer strip and run in front of everyone, so Taejun joins her team to protect her. She falls and hurts herself, but he carries their team to victory, then looks after her so carefully that he even puts the toothpaste on her toothbrush. That evening, Eun-gyeol tries to slip out of his tent to check on her, and the coach sends him straight back, while Jae-hee sleeps peacefully beside Taejun in his tent. The next day, he asks her to come look at the stars with him. He gives her his jacket and tells her to follow, and then finds Han-na waiting for him. She is in tears because her father told her that Taejun's father is moving to Canada and taking him along, and he reassures her that he is not going anywhere. Jae-hee waits, and he never comes. Eun-gyeol finds her instead, and when Taejun finally sees the two of them together, he cannot bring himself to walk over and goes back to his tent eaten up with jealousy. Everyone returns to school the next day. Taejun sees Jae-hee playing basketball and secretly takes a photo of her. After the game, a young man sweeps her into his car, and Taejun and Eun-gyeol assume she has been kidnapped and tear after them, only to discover it is John Kim, her childhood friend, just back from a trip. Her brother told him she was here. Taejun gets introduced and is immediately jealous of how easy John Kim is with her, especially since John Kim clearly knows her secret. Later, Taejun meets his agent, who tells him his father wants to take him to Canada and that it would be better for his education and his athletic future. He says he will think about it. Back in the room, he finds Jae-hee talking in her sleep, and he laughs at her, pulls the blanket over her, and finally admits to himself that he has fallen for her. The next day, the school hires John Kim to photograph the student athletes, and Taejun refuses to be photographed until Jae-hee begs him. When she goes on a city tour with John Kim, Taejun invites himself along, and so does Eun-gyeol, and John Kim spends the entire day baffled by the behavior of her friends. Later, he notices the way Taejun looks at her and begins to suspect that Taejun knows the truth, which worries him. Back at the dorms, Taejun notices Jae-hee has a fever, and after touching her forehead, he has to go stand in the bathroom to calm himself down. He gets her into bed and stays up all night looking after her, and in the morning Yoon Gaeol walks in and finds the two of them asleep side by side. Everyone freezes. Taejun falls straight off the bed, and Jae-hee spends the entire day going rigid every time he comes near her. Later, a reporter asks Taejun why he did not go to Canada, and he answers that it is because of someone special in Korea. Everyone assumes he means Han-na. Then comes a surprise inspection of the boys' dorm, and Jae-hee's beauty and fashion magazines are found in her bed. Taejun covers for her, saying they belong to his girlfriend, and Jae-hee is left wondering which girl he was picturing when he said that. Soon, the news spreads that Taejun stayed in Korea for Han-na, and Jae-hee concludes that Han-na is the girl he meant. Taejun finds her sitting with the dog, and she scolds him for throwing away the chance to travel just for Han-na. He tries to tell her the truth, and at that exact moment, John Kim turns up to cheer her up, so Taejun gets angry and says nothing at all. John Kim invites her to a friend's birthday party, and this time he wants her to come as a girl. She puts on the wig and goes with him, and unfortunately, Taejun and Han-na have also been invited. When he sees her in a dress, he cannot look away, but Han-na is certain she has seen that face before. Jae-hee runs, Han-na chases her, and John Kim pulls her away at the perfect moment. Jae-hee goes home crushed anyway, more convinced than ever that something is going on between Taejun and Han-na. The next day, Taejun comes to apologize for what happened and offers to take her out to make up for it. She agrees, and they spend hours together enjoying themselves. On the bus home, he falls asleep on her shoulder, and she looks at him and finally admits to herself that she is in love with him. When she gets back to the dorm, Han-na is waiting. She has found Jae-hee's belongings and uncovered the whole secret, and she threatens to expose her. She heads for the headmaster, and the doctor stops her and calmly tells her he already knows. So she goes to Taejun instead, and he floors her by saying he already knows too. It breaks her heart because she understands at once that Jae-hee is the girl he was talking about. She storms off, and Taejun is left worrying she will expose everything. Then Han-na sends him a message. She will keep the secret, as long as he does exactly what she tells him. The next day, Jae-hee goes to confess to Taejun that she is a girl, wanting him to hear it from her first. Instead, they both watch Han-na hold a press conference and announce that Taejun is her boyfriend. Jae-hee is stunned. Taejun tries to explain and cannot. When he meets Han-na afterward, she tells him that if he denies it, she will expose Jae-hee to everyone, and he agrees because he has no choice. Meanwhile, Eun-gyeol is out on the football field, crushed, because he wanted to make the national team like Taejun and impress Jae-hee, and the coach turned him down. Taejun walks back to the dorm in the rain, sunk in his own misery, and Jae-hee runs out with an umbrella, aching because she cannot be with him. She lies down that night wishing more than anything that he knew she was a girl. The next day, the news is everywhere, and a crowd of fans gathers outside the school protesting. Jae-hee then goes to Han-na and apologizes for being close to Taejun, saying she did not know he had a girlfriend, and tells her she plans to confess the truth and step back. Han-na tells her not to, because it will only hurt him. Her real reason is colder than that. If Jae-hee admits she is a girl, Taejun will stop protecting her, confess his feelings, and leave Han-na for good. Later, Han-na is training when she remembers Taejun telling her he only ever saw her as a sister. She tenses at exactly the wrong moment, falls, and injures her foot. The doctor tells Taejun the injury is severe and she might never compete in gymnastics again. Guilt-ridden, he decides to stay with her at the hospital and keeps the full truth from her. Jae-hee hears about it and decides to visit, but before she can go in, Taejun tells Han-na the truth about her foot. She breaks down sobbing. He pulls her into his arms, and Jae-hee walks in on exactly that, turns around, and leaves. She goes back to the dorm feeling completely alone and goes looking for Eun-gyeol, only for Hyun-jae to tell her that Eun-gyeol has been skipping school ever since the national team rejected him. Upset that she never heard a thing about it, she goes to his house to cheer him up. He lights up when he sees her, and she reminds him how many times she has failed and never quit. It works, and he comes back to school with her. Meanwhile, Taejun walks into Hanna's room to find her watching old videos of her own routines. She asks him to take her to the gym where she used to train, and he agrees, wheelchair and all. She stands in the middle of the floor, tries to lift herself into a dance, and the pain puts her on the ground. Afterward, she tells him she will not force him to stay with her anymore, and that if he loves Jae-hee, he should go back to her. At that same moment, Yoon-gyeol is with Jae-hee and decides to confess, telling her he does not care whether she is a boy, he loves her, leaving behind a note saying she is looking forward to seeing her compete again. Something in Hanna shifts, and she decides to fight her way back to gymnastics. When Taejun gets back to the dorm, he picks up on the tension between Yoon-gyeol and Jae-hee and asks Yoon-gyeol what he said to her. Yoon-gyeol admits he confessed his feelings. Taejun is rattled and starts worrying that if Yoon-gyeol keeps getting closer, he will work out that she is a girl. The group goes on another camping trip, and this time Jae-hee cannot miss the strange competition running between Taejun and Eun-gyeol, both of them fussing over her and doing her chores. Meanwhile, a classmate named Seung-ri, who has a hopeless crush on Hanna, ends up back in surgery after a misunderstanding on the hospital roof, and confesses that he loves her on the way in. Back in the room, Eun-gyeol asks Taejun straight out whether he is interested in Jae-hee too. Taejun freezes, terrified that admitting anything will give the whole secret away, and says nothing at all. The next day, one of the national team members is injured, and the coach accepts Eun-gyeol as a replacement. Jae-hee celebrates with him, and Taejun watches the two of them get closer and starts to fear that she might fall for Eun-gyeol, so he makes up his mind to confess. Later, he finds her stretching for something on a high shelf and reaches it for her, and she goes red at how close he is, and then Eun-gyeol walks straight in and destroys the moment. On the way back from the trip, the doctor notices how much Taejun worries about her and guesses that he knows. Taejun admits it. He knows she is a girl, he loves her, and he intends to tell her. The doctor stops him cold, warning that a confession would force her to leave the school. So Taejun decides to stay quiet and put everything he has into giving her the thing she wants, which is watching him win at the Olympics. The next day she watches him train and is blown away by what he can do. He is happy. Hyunjae is livid, and his jealousy sharpens into something dangerous when a company offers to make him their spokesperson on the condition that he wins the competition. Now he needs Taejun to lose. He throws a flower pot down at him, and only Jae-hee's shout saves him. She tells Taejun she saw someone up there, and he tells her she is imagining it. Then she catches Hyunjae tampering with the brakes on Taejun's bike. Certain that Taejun will not believe her, she takes the bike herself, discovers the brakes are dead, and comes off it hard, and Eun-gyeol catches her in time. What she does not notice is how badly Eun-gyeol hurt himself doing it. The school doctor tells him he has a severe ankle sprain and will not be competing at the Olympics. Jae-hee is devastated because as far as she is concerned, she just ended her friend's dream, and no amount of comforting from him can shift the guilt. Then she confronts Hyunjae and tells him she knows exactly what he did. He is stunned because Eun-gyeol is his roommate and his closest friend. He goes to apologize and confesses everything, and Eun-gyeol refuses to forgive him and walks out. Hyunjae decides to leave the school, and then his little sister shows up because she misses him. Eun-gyeol cannot reach him by phone, so he and Jae-hee look after the girl until Hyunjae races back and finds his sister laughing with the two of them. He is humiliated, seeing how kind they have been to him when he has been anything but, and when his sister asks him to bring her a medal from the Olympics, he promises he will. He breaks down and apologizes to Eun-gyeol, swearing he will never hurt Taejun again, and Eun-gyeol forgives him. Taejun forgives him too, and tells him he knew all along and chose not to expose him in front of Jae-hee. Later, Jae-hee tells Taejun she wants him to make peace with his father, who came to the school and asked her to convince him. Taejun's mind goes back to a childhood with a mother who was so often unconscious and a father who was always at work and never seemed to notice. He refuses and walks out. Not long after, Jae-hee answers his phone and learns that his father is in the hospital. He rushes there in a panic, and once he finds out the condition is not critical, he says he feels nothing and will not be coming back, leaving his father believing his son does not care about him. The truth is that Tae-jun is terrified of losing him the way he lost his mother, and it bleeds into his training. The next day, Jae-hee catches him pushing himself instead of resting and drags him out to an amusement park. At the end of it, he drapes his jacket over her shoulders, and then he kisses her, leaving her completely stunned. The following day, she goes to see his father in the hospital. She tells him Tae-jun is worried sick and that it is wrecking his performance, and asks whether they could meet and settle things. His father agrees. When Tae-jun comes back to the dorm and finds his father sitting there, Jae-hee slips out and leaves them to it. His father finally tells him the truth. He knew about his mother's illness from the very beginning, and she was receiving treatment in secret. She was told to have surgery, and she delayed it for Tae-jun's sake, making his father promise not to say a word so their son would not be distracted from the competition. His father carried the guilt of that delay alone and decided to shoulder the blame for it. All those years of pushing Tae-jun to win his mother's dream, and he never once explained why. Tae-jun is shattered and he leaves in tears, wrecked by the realization that he resented his father for years without ever seeing the weight the man was carrying. Back at the dorm, Jae-hee finds him crying and holds him. The next day, he feels lighter. He sends his father a message apologizing for everything and promising to win the Olympics for him, and he goes back to training with a completely different kind of fire. Then he comes back to the dorm, gathers his courage, and tells Jae-hee that he has always liked her and that now he loves her. She has no idea what to say. Still reeling, she goes to take a bath, and Yoon-gyeol sees her and discovers she is a girl. He suspected it from the very start, and it still knocks the wind out of him. He tears into her for hiding something that big from someone who considers her his closest friend, and he is angrier still because Tae-jun obviously knows. She tries to tell him Tae-jun has no idea. He does not believe a word of it, and he walks out and leaves her sitting there. Terrified that Tae-jun will leave her once he learns the truth, she goes down to the lake, and when he finds her, she cries and tells him she is a girl. He tells her she is a fool, that he has known from the very beginning, and that he loves her anyway. She cries with relief and tells him she loves him too. The next day, Yoon-gyeol is still refusing to speak to her, and no apology gets through. Then Tae-jun asks her out on a real date, which fixes her mood instantly. And they spend the whole day together and end the night watching the stars. Then Eun-gyeol hears a rumor going around the students. There is a girl hiding at the school, and people are saying she changes in the locker room. He runs to her room and hides her seconds before anyone can see. They leave together, and she apologizes for keeping the truth from him all that time. He tells her he is not giving up, that he intends to keep competing with Tae-jun for her, and he asks her out for the next day. She goes back and tells Tae-jun, who is jealous and cannot stop her because he knows Yoon-gyeol is her closest friend. The two of them go out the next day, and at the end of it he confesses again and then says he is going to the bathroom. He tells her that if she does not feel the same, she should be gone before he gets back. When he returns, the place is empty. Then she says his name from right behind him. For 1 second he thinks she chose him, and then she tells him she stayed to reject him properly, because she loves Tae-jun and because Yoon-gyeol is her closest friend and deserves to hear it to his face. He smiles and finally lets her go. At that exact moment, Tae-jun comes running toward them and pulls her into a tight hug, half convinced Yoon-gyeol has gotten to her. Meanwhile, Seung-ri finally makes Han-na laugh by accidentally revealing a pair of extremely ridiculous underwear, and she agrees to go out with him. Jae-hee drags Tae-jun out of bed early every morning and pushes him to train as hard as he possibly can. He gives her clothes that match his own and asks her to wear them on the day. When Hyun-jae comes to wish him luck, Tae-jun hands him a pair of sports shoes instead of accepting it, and Hyun-jae grins and agrees to travel with him. On the way, a message comes in from Han-na, thanking Tae-jun for everything and telling him she is starting physical therapy with a real chance of returning to gymnastics. Back at the school, worn down by how hard she has been pushing herself, Jae-hee collapses in front of the students at the sports club. When they open her shirt to help her breathe, they find out she is the girl everyone has been whispering about. Seung-ri carries her to the doctor, scolds her fiercely, and then promises to keep her secret. The rest of the students agree to keep it too. But Jae-hee cannot stand the thought of her friends being punished for her, so she decides to go back to America without even waiting for Tae-jun. She asks the doctor to keep her departure quiet, then calls Tae-jun at the training camp and asks him for one last date before the competition. They spend the day together with only one of them knowing it is the last, and at the end of it, she asks him to promise he will do everything he can to win that medal because she is waiting to see him succeed. Then she hugs him and cries and leaves him standing there confused. Before she goes, all her classmates come to see her off and tell her she will always be their close friend, and Yeon-gyeol arrives last with the dog to say goodbye. Tae-jun, meanwhile, is going quietly out of his mind because she has not contacted him since their date. He calls Yeon-gyeol to check on her and learns she has gone to America. He is ready to fly out after her, and Eun-gyeol stops him, telling him the one thing he can do for her now is achieve the dream she has been chasing on his behalf. Tae-jun listens and stays. Then comes the competition. He stands at the end of the runway with his nerves screaming, hearing her voice cheering him on from every memory he has of her. He runs, he jumps, he goes higher than he has ever gone in his life, and he takes first place. Somewhere far away, Jae-hee is laughing through her tears as he announces that he is dedicating the win to her and that he intends to give it to her in person. Time passes. In America, Jae-hee asks Yeon-gyeol how Tae-jun is doing, and he tells her he has not heard from him since the competition. She sighs, wishing she could just talk to him since he has not reached out once since that day. And while she is still lost in that thought, she looks up and finds Tae-jun standing right in front of her. He came all the way to America for her. She laughs, and he pulls her into his arms and promises he is never leaving her again. So the moral of the story is, if you're going to sneak into an all-boys school for love, at least bring a better disguise. Because apparently everyone figures it out except the people who actually matter.